Welcome to the Talk and Chatter experience powered by Gasoline Alley Harley Davidson. Today's guest is Stefan Granquist and Emelie Karlsson. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we're up here in the Port Stephens region.
Yeah.
Cheers for having me up here.
Yeah, it's good to have you.
I was supposed to come up here doing a bit of riding with you guys, and one of us hurt an ankle, one of us has hurt a shoulder, and we didn't get riding, but we're still doing the podcast. So let's rip into it.
Yeah.
Who's Stefan and who's Emelie?
I'll start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 33 years old. Race Enduro. Came over from Sweden in 2011 and, yeah, full-time Aussie at the moment.
And Emelie?
Yeah, I'm 32 years old and Swedish. Moved over here with Stefan 2011 and now got dual citizenship.
Oh, you both got dual?
Yeah. I was born here. I've always, But Emelie, a couple of years ago now,
2016.
Yeah. So you were born here, obviously.
Yeah.
Granquist is a famous name within motorcycle racing here.
Yeah.
So you were born in whereabouts?
Penrith.
Oh, really?
Penrith, Blue Mountains,
Yeah, cool. And you went back over to Sweden?
Yeah, I was born here. We lived our normal life here, and then my parents. I was 7, and my brother was 10.
Yeah.
My parents wanted us to grow up in Sweden a bit as well, and I think the plan initially was to go back there for 10 years, come back. And then not sure if they thought that through, because then 10 years it was sort of halfway through school and all that sort of stuff. So we ended up. The plan was to stay then until we finished school.
Wow.
So I grew up there and wasn't really on the cards to come back to Australia and move back to Australia because we were happy to live in Sweden.
Yep.
My parents started coming back here for like 6 months a year. And we even came out here on holiday together.
We went here 2009 on a holiday for 5 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'd had done an ACL that year, early in the year.
Wow.
And then sort of got through the year more or less, racing and stuff. And then I had an operation in November. So I got a free holiday, came over here. I was on sick leave from work and you took a bit of time off work, didn't you?
Yeah, and we came over here and I did a race here.
Yeah.
So is this the first time you would have actually been to Oz?
Yep, it was the first time for me,
Yeah, right.
And I got to borrow a bike off Ballard's off-road racing team then.
Yep.
And I did one race. I can't remember where it was though.
Guandolen, state.
State championship there, I think.
Like a motocross?
No, Enduro.
Yeah.
But I didn't race Enduro in Sweden. You didn't do that either.
Yeah.
We raced motocross.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
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 So how
it
was that?
pretty fun.
Yeah, coming to Australia racing that. How was that?
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, try that. I remember it was hot.
Yeah.
And we came from winter.
Yeah, of course. That would have been a huge change.
Yeah,
so you were on the
definitely.
sidelines then?
Yeah, I just literally, I think I might have been a month out of surgery. So I had another couple of months
like
recovery. So I just came out here and was just
Yeah.
limping around, hopping around, trying to service her and with the bike racing side of things. And Ballard, they put you up on the team, I guess briefly for that round, and it was only a state round, but then that kind of sort of got the brain clicking a little bit of could be cool to come over here and do something different. And then 2010. End of 2010, I was talking to Ballard via my dad and everything, because I knew him, but I wasn't like in contact with him. And then just one day he was like, all right, we'll make something happen.
Wow.
Next week, a contract came through. I was like, oh, shit.
So you're back in Sweden?
This is back in Sweden, yeah. So this is...
Everything happened in a really short amount of time because I already had... Because over there I was riding for Yamaha Scandinavia.
Right.
So I had a really good deal
So you had a good
going.
deal. Yeah.
Over there. I had a really good deal over there and I was happy with it. And then I think it was within just 5 weeks or something, we decided that we were going to move.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So just leave everything and pack up both of our apartments. We didn't live together over there.
Yep.
So
Man, what a journey though, like from not living together to moving to another country together.
Yeah.
It's been a journey, that's for sure. It's like, we didn't live together. We saw each other on the weekends and everything like that.
Yep.
Move over here, we lived at a room above Ballard's
garage.
like team garage, basically.
Oh, really?
It's sort of fitted out, and so there's a couple of rooms up top, basically for weekends, for riders that come and stay there, not like full time.
Wow.
But he put us up there we were there for 4 months, I reckon. 4 months.
Yeah, and And then we
And
decided
then,
that we wanted to live in the van instead.
Yeah.
So we could see more stuff and that, because we didn't work the first year we were here.
So a proper tour, like
Yeah.
actually see stuff. So where was that? They were out Penrith way too, weren't
yeah,
they?
they're Hampton.
Okay. Is that
So
Penrith direction?
No, well, it's kind of inland.
On the
from
way to
Lithgow.
Ginnellan Caves.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's where Ballard's
That's where his base is.
base is.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of been his little hideaway. His
Yep.
little he likes to get away because he had his business in Penrith,
Ah,
and
that's
that
what
was
I'm
where
thinking.
yeah.
Yep.
So he spent his weekends and everything there, and I think he still got it. I'm pretty sure, and he spends a lot of time out there.
I
Between
think that's
there
where
and
they've been filming some of the Transmoto stuff.
yeah,
At
yeah,
that hideaway, I think.
yeah.
haven't they?
Yeah.
It's a good little spot there. Got
Yep.
some good tracks, good access to state forest. You can do heaps of riding out there,
Yeah, nice.
and not a heap of people around. He likes
So
that.
good, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
How did
So-
Yamaha Scandinavia, like when you went back to them, what did they say?
Oh, I can't really remember that actually, but yeah, I think they just thought it was a cool thing to go here.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a bit sad because it was a really good relationship.
Yep.
But so I wasn't fully committed. I didn't feel like, oh, this is amazing, because
Yep.
he had this deal. I didn't have anything here.
Yeah.
So I bought a bike in that when we moved over here
Yep.
and just did my own thing, which then turned into getting help the second year we were here from Yamaha Australia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, because I had a good first year, so that was good. But yeah, I can't remember really. I think they were more excited for me,
Yeah.
Scandinavia, that just try something else. But
Yeah.
when we moved over here, it was supposed to be a 1 year thing. We said we were going to come back after a year, and we've been here for 10 years now.
That didn't happen.
Yeah. So,
But the relationship's still there. Like you've been back
Yeah.
and raced, and every time you come back,
Yeah.
between
Get to borrow
Yamaha
a
Scandinavia
bike, yeah.
and the local shop, which is one of the biggest shops in Sweden.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They've been awesome. Like if she needs a bike, they'll get her a brand new bike
It's
and
always
she
there.
use it. And then,
So yeah, I went back last year. This is sort of no, I haven't been back every year, but I've seen some family members every year.
Yep.
But now because of COVID, I haven't been back this year.
It's hard.
But last year I went back, and yeah,
'Cause you had a race
and
there
for
last
the-
year, eh?
Yeah, and then the 6th day as well.
Yep.
And then they're really good with just get a bike sorted for me. So I still got some contacts there.
It's sort of
They're-
good to have both
Yeah.
both
Oh,
worlds, eh?
definitely.
yeah.
So was Ballard's, they were still the Yamaha, at
Yeah.
that point, eh, as well,
Yeah.
so straight
Yeah.
into that.
Straight into that. So back to that. That was a like I'd say one of my highlights of experiences of my racing career,
Yep.
because came from like running our own team in Sweden. I was on Suzuki's for forever with our own little team, me and my brother. That was awesome. Like we had a great time, and that
Yep.
sort of working through the racing side of things, and to be offered a ride on a factory team in
Yep.
Australia. I was going to be teammates with Stefan Merriman, like 4-time world
Wow.
champ. Chris Hollis was the guy to beat at the time, which he has been through many seasons. And Matty Phillips was on the team.
It was his first year.
Yeah, it's a
So he
strong
came in
lineup.
as a 17-year-old,
Damn.
and yeah, geez, it was a good learning curve for both of us, I reckon, and especially some of the times we were riding with Phillips, because he was living there a lot as well, because he was from Tassie. He
Yep.
was there with his mum, Deb. We spent a lot of time with them. And just going out riding with the kid. He's 70 years old.
Yeah.
He's obviously won several world championships
Yeah, yeah,
now.
yep.
But the stuff he was doing was just like, yeah, I guess I'll try that too, but it just didn't work out the same way for me most of the time.
So he had a real,
Just
just
a
raw
freak.
Just
talent.
Just a
really,
freak.
yeah,
Yeah.
talent, technical skills
Yep.
were just
Yeah.
Just
amazing.
ability,
Yeah.
high
Yeah.
ability. Yeah.
So you had that guy, and
Yep.
then you have Merriman, which is the most calculated guy
Yeah.
alive. He doesn't do anything to take risks,
Yep.
but he just makes it happen.
Yep.
And then you have Hollis, which is kind of mixture of both.
Mm.
Like he can put it on the line, but he's silky smooth, and so it's just to get to learn from them people was pretty cool.
And had you done, like obviously you're both saying you did motocross predominantly back there, had you done much enduro stuff? Really?
I
I
was-
did
I
a
was
bit.
limited, but
Yeah,
you had some.
I'd done a fair bit in winter.
Yeah.
Because in winter over there, when it snowed, there's no motocross. There's some winter
Yep.
cups on, but
Yep.
I mainly did enduro in winter just for training.
Yep.
And we had winter series in the enduro,
Right.
and then I did some.
Wow.
They got like a team Swedish championship one-off round
Yep.
in the enduro, and I just did that with a friend. So we won that a couple of times, but that's the only enduro. The rest were motocross.
So then you come here to race enduro.
Yeah.
What a jump, hey!
Yeah.
Change countries and
Yeah.
come to an enduro in a total different climate.
100%. And we raced everything that year. I don't think we've ever raced as much as we did those first couple of years. We raced enduro. We raced. I did 3 rounds, I think, of the MX Nationals.
Yep.
In between races. We did state motocross. We did so much racing that
Because
year.
you did some of them,
Yeah.
for the men's, the MX Nationals. And
On the enduro bike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only had
Yeah.
the one bike.
Yeah.
I turned it over a couple of times that year,
Yep.
but I only had one bike at a time.
Wow.
So I
So-
serviced you at that, and then
Yeah.
I did the women's MX Nationals,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
you serviced me at that. So we just
Yeah.
jumped a bit, and then we did the state motocross,
Yeah.
and then enduro, state enduro, and we had a race almost every weekend.
Do you think that's advanced? Like when I met you guys last year, was doing motocross as well. Do you
Yeah.
think that's advanced your skill set by doing both each year? Like doing
Yeah.
back to
Yeah, definitely.
more riding obviously is going to help, but
Yeah, and they're so different. Like
Yeah.
you learn. I reckon you take a lot from motocross into enduro and vice versa. So riding, if you go from only riding motocross, you kind of have that mindset. It's just you. I'm not going to say like your mental sort of looking at a track is limited, but you have a certain amount of lines you ride, all that sort of stuff. But once you start riding in enduro, you just open up your eyes so much more because you just got to be so particular with your lines. It's everything. And then I found that, like, especially going back to motocross, where you'd ride some lines that probably might not have always been the fastest line, but definitely, saves you a lot of grief and just gives you a bit of
I
creativity.
think since I started more with enduro as well, I'm not as scared of the really deep ruts in an up ramp or whatever, because it's pretty often we just sit in one rut.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and come
and
from
stuff
enduro,
like
you see such big terrain like alterations and that.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess coming to motocross, it makes everything a lot more familiar too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that was 2010 and 11, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
sort of around
Yeah,
there.
11 was that first season.
How was it settling in? Like, was it a big, like you've grown up here, but was it a big change still? Like,
I really
Yeah.
struggled.
You
I
did?
had a massive struggle.
what with?
Everything.
Yeah.
Not having. I couldn't really
Family?
speak. I couldn't speak English when we moved here.
You could speak, but not very good.
Oh, really?
Not really
Yeah.
good, and
Yeah.
I definitely didn't want to,
Yeah.
because I understand most stuff, because
Yep.
the TV and everything over there is, like, everything we watch is sort of English,
Oh, right.
but it's subtitled, and we don't use the language, so you sort of understand,
Yep.
but then you don't feel comfortable with using it because you're not used to speaking English. So I didn't
change.
like that, and then didn't have any family here either except Steph. So
Yeah, it's a huge change.
it was just hard
Yeah.
because I was really close with my family. I was used to always having dad at the races, and my whole family always came and supported me at the races. And then here, in the first year, he was on the team, and I was on my own, and I was used to having my team around
Yeah.
me and
Yeah,
stuff
it'd be
like
hard.
that.
And,
It was
and
a-
you would be wanting to service Emily's bike, I guess, but you've still got your own
Yeah.
team stuff. There'd be a bit of a balance in that too, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's kind of been since we started this journey, I guess
Yep.
you can call it over here. We've sort of we almost have to half commit both our careers. Every time
I'm
we're out
helping
racing,
you,
I'm
yeah.
thinking about my stuff, but
Yep.
then, oh, how's Emily going? Or is she hurt? Or, okay, she's having dramas, I need to help her, vice versa. So we've sort of half done it, I reckon. We've had each other there, so we can't solely focus on us. If you go to a race and you got 2 people around you, 3 people there, everyone's just taking care of you. But we sort of
had to. It's
Yeah.
been. I know I know heaps of races, but he's come in and bloody crashed the bike to pieces, and it's sprints. So he's up soon again, and I got sprints on a different track or something, and I'm out after him, but I know he's not going to have time to get out again if I don't help him. So we sort of try to eat, and then we're working on his bike, and next time maybe I had a crash or something, and we try to eat, and we're
same
both
thing.
working on my bike, and we're like,
It's a hard thing.
yeah, but made us heaps stronger and learnt heaps from it as well, I guess.
You're your
But-
own team.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
really, aren't you? Like, between the two of you guys, you're out and doing your own team sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
How was it riding for Ballards at the start?
I thought it was pretty cool. It was a good
Yeah.
experience. It was definitely different to anything I've done before, especially, I haven't been on big teams in Europe. I've had little guest rides and stuff like that, but not really a solid year.
Yeah.
So I mean that was great. I had a good experience, and it sort of got my foot in the door over here. And don't think a lot of people expected much from me from coming from motocross. I'll actually to say that also the deal I signed wasn't even a pro deal. I was supposed to be an expert class.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it wasn't even a pro deal.
So what got sent through while you're in Sweden?
That's what I got. That's what. I didn't end up getting a different contract.
Yep.
I was just the contract I had, and then I think something happened with
They
MA.
cancelled the class.
Something happened with MA or whatever, whoever ran the events.
Yep.
They weren't going to run expert classes for nationals. So they still had an expert class for state. So and I found that out when I showed up. I didn't really care. I just wanted to come over here and race. I honestly didn't care. I was like, oh yeah, cool. And I'm looking at the start, like whoever's going to be in my class. I was in E2, the 450 class. Yep. So you had, Glenn Carney had come back from America on a Husky, and then they had Bartosz Obluki from Poland, I think he's from, on that team. Hollis was there. There was it was a ridiculous amount of riders that were, Pricey was racing then. He'd won the year before. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There was a massive class anyway. So I was like, all right, I'm not riding expert anymore. I'm the pro E2 class. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? I don't know who. I knew 3 or 4 riders that were going to race me. I didn't know the rest. And then, just went with it and actually ended up on the podium that year, which was pretty cool. Wow. So it's, I can't really ask for much more than that. Like it was, I don't think many people expected that, to be honest.
So did you come from an RMZ 450?
Yeah.
Big change.
Yeah. The Yamahas were heaps more reliable.
Well, the RMZ 450 now is still the same one as you would have raced in 08.
Maybe, yeah. Wow. I loved the bikes when I rode them, but I remember going to, because in Sweden you go through winter.
Yep.
Can't really ride much quality. You can ride, but it's not very quality riding. So before the racing season starts, if you've got the funds for it and you want to do well, you pack your van or caravan or whatever you got, and you head down south to like Belgium, Italy, Spain.
Yeah, we normally went Spain, Italy, Holland, and Belgium. They're like the main places you go.
France, like out of Dunkirk.
And what would that be? Mostly like sort of sandy sort of stuff?
Mostly sand.
Yeah.
If it's too wet in Holland, you just keep driving south. You go to Italy or something, and then you get hard pack, and then they put a massive amount of work into the tracks. Like you can come to a track and there's half a metre of mud. Yeah. But they got 400 or 500 riders that want to ride there and pay, what is it, €50? No.
But it doesn't matter. But they sort of
big money for a day of riding, so there's big money for them to open the track. So they'll have excavators there just pushing the mud aside.
Wow.
Spending they might open a bit later, but they will get that track open no matter what.
And the track is always perfect. And when that mud dries out, they put it back on the track, and the track is perfect.
So you can see why like the European riders at the moment, like this era, is just incredible. The tracks that they're riding.
They ride so much. They never get a smooth track. It's either a smoother morning and then it turns out to be the deepest, sandiest track you've ever seen, or they ride mud, they ride everything. So.
And when you go to Holland and Belgium and those sand tracks, you disappear in the ropes.
Yeah. Oh, really?
They're so big. Like during a practice day. Yeah. It's smooth when you get there, but that turns around pretty quick because all the bloody... the top riders they practice on the same track as you, and you just, oh my god, these guys are here.
After sort of 10 years, does it seem foreign saying that you'd travel between these countries to ride bikes, like coming from Australia, like hearing you talk about we're just going to go from Sweden to Holland to Italy just to race, like it just seems so foreign here to say that you're going to go between these countries. Does it seem like that now? Just go there
to practice.
Just to practice,
The weird thing I reckon is when we normally say that, we just, if we drive this far here in Australia, if we got like a South Australia around, we normally say, we would have been in Italy now.
So strange,
But we're we're still in the same country. And when we had 4-day in Western Australia 2013. We said, I would have been in Portugal now.
That's a journey and a half.
We drive other side of the country, people speak the same
Yep.
Scenery almost looked the same.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
cool thing over there. We've both been saying that we miss that.
That'd be something you miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it changed so much. Scenery and cool
Cultures.
with all cultures, languages, everything just changed. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty much the same here. I feel like until you get further north, like when you get up to like Townsville or Cairns, where it gets a bit more old school Australian sort of speak and that, it's pretty much the same across most places here. And really,
Yeah.
you know, culture wise, it's pretty much the same. Like you can hop out anywhere and it's just the same thing. you
Yeah.
know, so.
Because even in Sweden, that's so tiny,
Mm.
but down south or all the way up north,
Yep.
I can't understand them.
Oh, really?
Because it's so different.
The
Yeah, right.
like the dialects, the
Oh.
language is the
Same
same.
language, but-
but
Yeah,
like
but dialects
if you
is,
listen to it that
Yeah.
don't understand the language, you'd think they're two different languages.
Really?
Yeah.
So just from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the sort of distance in Sweden? Like, what is top to bottom? Like, what would you say was to be as big as, say, New South Wales?
I think it's like
No.
2,500, like
Oh,
2,500 Ks or something.
Yeah, 'cause it's
or more.
long.
It's pretty long.
Pretty
But
long.
then it's
Yeah.
really skinny.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I should know it, I
Yeah.
guess, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's been a while
It'll
since we
come
went.
back.
to school.
Yeah.
We live 300 k's from each other.
Yeah.
And that's just like the bottom.
300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So how'd you guys originally meet at a race?
Mutual
Yeah.
trainer.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't use him as a trainer.
You
but
had him
he,
as a sponsor?
He sponsored us with gear because he was a trainer and also did
Yep.
gear.
And
Yeah.
I had him as a trainer.
Yeah.
So he just introduced us just because he was talking to me or something and you walked past at one of
Yeah.
the races or something. And then we started talking. Or
Mm.
and then,
And that's the way
Yeah.
it goes. How do you keep sponsors for so long? You seem to have a good relationship with
Yeah.
sponsor wise and stuff. Like it's something that a lot of people don't do.
Yeah, I
Um,
think. I don't want to cut you short there, but I think a big thing is there can be stuff that pops up here and there that are
Yep.
equal or a little bit better. But what's the point? Like, I'd
Right,
rather build a
loyalty.
relationship, or we both would rather
Yeah.
build a relationship with someone that we can stick with and
Yep.
Someone-
not be that,
yeah, and
not
we
be
like
those
them,
people
yeah.
that just jump around if you get, one extra set of gloves or
Yeah.
whatever the deal is. I just don't see the point. And I think we're pretty on the same ball there. With,
And we've been really lucky
Yeah.
to get a good relationships
Yeah.
with the ones we got, and we're really happy with them. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we've been really lucky as well to have the sponsors that we have, and that they have been happy to stay with us. And
Because
then,
it's nice to see because there is so many people that just jump
yeah.
this deal to this deal because of a pair of gloves or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just something I do see with
Yeah.
both you guys. You both keep long term
We try to.
loyalty. You know?
Yeah, there's certainly some sort of things that you sort of float into, and then some opportunities just disappear sometimes overnight. That just happens. Like we ran a set of gear for a fair few years, and we found out literally a couple of weeks before the first round everything was supposed to be all right, and then we found out that he'd
Couldn't
lost
do
the
it,
dealership
yeah.
or something, or lost
really?
the importing rights. It hadn't
Yep.
really told us. And
then
then, but I think he wanted to help us out, kind of thing initially, and just keep us in the gear. But he wasn't actually going to keep importing it. He was just going to sell off his stock.
Yep.
And then so that's when we fell into Lusty. Like we've been with them for a couple of years, and
Yep.
with
I
the
don't know,
fast house.
yeah, we try and stay like former boots. Been with since 2014.
Wow.
Like Yamaha, I've been with them since 11. You've been with them since what?
Yeah,
2007
Yamaha.
or something.
Oh, yeah, Scandinavia since 2008
Wow.
to 11 when we moved
Yep.
here. And then it was 1 year when I bought the bike here. And then since 2012, Yamaha Australia.
It's a long time. What were you riding over there? Was it a YZ or WR?
No, what is it?
YZ.
Yep.
250F?
Yep.
Yep. And you come straight on the WR 450 straight into that
No,
class.
I was actually on a YZ. So 2011.
Was that
the-
an FX or whatever?
No, they
No.
didn't exist back then. So the option was either the WR, which is like I don't know, it's a pretty old generation WR. There was still a aluminium frame, but it wasn't like the current,
It was the 04 setup.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think they'd been around for a long time.
Mm.
I was on the YZ the first couple of years here as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Yep.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
many years, actually.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, until this
New
shit,
model.
2014 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
new
think it was.
evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was on that YZ, and then Ballard, I think he was on the WR at the time, but all the other riders like the were on YZs.
With like 87 TTR forks on it or something.
He loves them, yeah.
So Jeff would have had the...
I think I tried them. You tried them.
Yeah.
And they're pretty out there. Like, they feel plush as anything, but you got to go pretty slow for them to work.
I got to ride one of his bikes last year, one of his modern ones, with it on, and it's just so plush.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's just
you don't feel anything.
nothing. No.
Yeah.
So,
But then when you try to push it, it's like, they're too soft when you try to push. That's what I reckon it was anyway.
If you're going to ride for a long time, I reckon that'd be the go for sure.
Yeah, just soak everything up.
Yeah.
Well, if you got stupid shoulders that can't handle stuff, you just float along.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's positives and negatives with everything, I guess.
Yeah.
Like a really fast enduro bike is never a really comfortable bike sort of thing.
Really?
Not super comfortable anyway. So.
Not if you're going for a trail ride.
Yeah.
Like my race settings and your race settings are not the most comfortable ones when you go for a trail ride.
Is that right? So tell me this: say you go race you race motocross the other weekend.
Yeah.
What do you do between them and say an enduro to your bike? Do you change the suspension and stuff like setting wise?
Well,
do you have a base?
Mainly, we don't have the facilities to just go and rebuild everything like just for a weekend because we might have an enduro the next week.
What about clickers or something?
We'll firm them up. We'll put maybe a bit more oil in the forks, that sort of stuff to help it stay up. We can run different spring rates and stuff. That's not very hard. But generally, we don't really revalve them and stuff unless we got something, like I'm going to do 3-4 MX Nationals, then we'll have a bit more look at it.
Yep.
But,
I actually really like mine on the motocross track. I make it stiffer with the clicks.
Yep, but that's all.
And that's enough for me.
So your setup's good straight away.
Yeah, I like it, but I have to go a bit harder on the clicks, and then I like it on the motocross if I just do that, and then I just go a bit softer again when I get in the bush.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So I don't really feel like I have to change it a lot. And then change sprocket a little bit if it's a lot faster.
Yeah.
But that's mainly.
Less is more, eh? Like the less things you got to do, the better it is.
But then the thing is also you can completely rebuild your suspension, but then you're not quite sure how it works or what it does on certain things. So sometimes it's better to run with what you know, and then you can have that confidence in like, okay, if I hit this section like that, it's probably going to do like that or do something weird. Whereas if you just put a completely new setting in there, you don't really know it. So and
you get lost in it, don't you?
Yeah, I think. I mean, suspension's everything on a motorbike. I'd say, almost, especially for enduro. Like motor is pretty small part of going fast. Like we're riding over rocks, we're going through creeks, and we're going through dips and going up hills where you need the bike to drive on loose rocks and stuff. So suspension's, I'd say, about 80-90% of your bike, and to trust it on all the different terrain you ride. So
just to get that comfort, eh?
Yeah.
Confidence and comfort.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth putting like high comp pistons and all that fancy stuff. It's just get a bike that's reliable for one, and obviously a stock 250 or a 450 Yamaha that we've been on for years. They're plenty fast enough for enduro.
The bikes are fast now, eh?
Yeah.
Like you don't really need to do too much, like engine wise, eh? So, what's the so 20? I'm guessing because the new bike in 2012, that was a new WR. I'm guessing you went over to that at that point.
Yeah,
because they changed. That was the update.
That was the newest one
and whatnot. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and I was one of the few. There wasn't that many on that. So we went back to private. I wasn't on the Ballards team for that year.
Yep.
Did 2 years. Sort of, we did our own team. For 2 years.
Yep.
And
12
then,
and 13.
I was on them, and then and then the 14 I was on Activate, so factory Yamaha team again.
Yep.
He was Ballards around still then? Yeah, Ballards was there as well. But that was on that. I was on a 480 or something, that same bike.
Oh, really?
But that bike was pretty moody. Like that bike was awesome on its day, but then it could be equally as bad on its day.
And that was the Activate bike?
Yeah, not necessarily because of Activate,
just
but that
model.
2012 model was... Like when things went right, it was unreal.
Yep.
But especially in wet conditions and stuff, it was really tricky to handle.
Yeah, right.
I found.
It's funny how like over the years, like you have these different ones that you remember.
Yeah.
Some good ones and that. You know how you turn over, say 2 or 3 a year, whatever it is. Do you notice, say they're the same year model, do you notice a difference between the bikes?
Definitely.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a big
Yeah.
Yeah, Steph gets cranky at me sometimes. So I just, I don't like this new bike.
Yeah.
It's a new bike. I love the motor, but they're stiff when they're new.
Yeah,
I
right,
love
so you
it when
notice it.
it's like 10 hours in,
Yep.
everything's a bit softened up.
It's gelled. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't take a
Yeah.
new bike to a race or something because it needs to be
Yeah.
ridden
Running a
before
bit.
because just soften everything up. I reckon a new bike is stiff in the frame and that.
Yeah.
So I notice a difference. You are not as bad with it.
I like the freshness of a new motor.
Yeah.
I reckon 5 to 10 hours that motor's as fast as any other bike. Not as fast as any other bike, but it
it's
is
the
a
best.
massive difference.
Yep.
Even after 10 to 15 hours,
Yep.
it's a big difference. And I think that could be because we never run race fuels and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
And that's one big thing with running race fuel is it burns clean, but you get carbon build up in your head and your pistons and stuff, and then it just doesn't ignite quite as well.
Yep.
So I think that 5 to 10 hours is where it's prime, like a motor.
Yep.
So when I was on Suzuki's in Sweden, we didn't have the budget to have new bikes all the time and stuff. But before every national, I'd pull my bike apart and I'd clean, put new pistons and stuff in it most of the time, but then clean the head and everything, get every little bit of carbon build up off. And that was the closest I could get to that bike feeling new.
that fresh
and that was a
feeling.
big difference.
Yeah, it's interesting,
Yeah.
It's all fuel and air.
Yeah.
Like if you're blocking something with a passage, like it's got to create some sort of mist. So
It just doesn't ignite the same, I think.
Yeah, the motor and everything, and then the throttle and the
Yeah.
clutch, all this stuff is amazing on a new bike. And
Yep.
don't get me wrong, I love a new bike, but it's perfect when it's got like 5 hours on it.
Yep.
Then it's just the best.
it's like home. You
Yeah.
know, like it's such a cool feeling when. Actually, I was asked that. Have you had a feeling on one that you've got, and not a manufacturer problem that you just didn't gel with? Have you ever felt that?
Yeah, I haven't necessarily had major ones because I always have suspensions generally. Like a lot of times
Just
I'll
place
move
it
it
in,
over
yeah.
for one bike. If you're
Yep.
turning up a couple of bikes, sometimes you move it over or build it the same. But you've had a couple of bikes where you've had a bad feeling and you didn't like it, and then some of them have blown up and that sort of stuff, and it's been
Just know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
you just sort of had that feeling. But
Yeah, and then, there's something weird.
You just had a feeling.
Yeah,
hey? Yep.
and then it's, blown up the
Yeah.
week after or something. Yeah.
or
But-
it just doesn't run as well and stuff. But I
Yeah.
don't know.
What happened so when you did your own thing, you obviously had a van. You just travelled around in a van
Yeah.
yourselves, did everything.
Yeah, it was fully packed,
Yeah.
that van.
We've had
Good way to do it.
couple of it's been a good way to do it. Like it's fun, and we've had over the years we've had a couple of different guys that have come with us to be a mechanic and try and help us out
At some races.
at some of the races. So we had in those first couple of years we had a friend from the Blue Mountains, Mitch, Tom Litchfield. He came around. He's actually been over in America and mechanic for Watsy, and
Oh, really? Yeah.
his dad had Pro Rider back in the day, or a couple of years back, which my dad actually started initially.
Really? Oh, wow.
So, but so he came with us, and then we had another guy, Brian from Geelong. He used to work for Craig Day.
Yep.
He was Milner's mechanic
Mhm.
when he won his first couple
I can't remember which one,
of
but
championships. Or
he was
something.
working with them for a couple
Yeah,
of years.
so he stopped working at CDR, and then we become really good friends and stuff like that. And then we're just like, oh, come and help us then. It's kind of a bit of a joke almost because he's probably got better things to do. But he was like, yeah, sure. If you need a hand, I'll come and give you a hand. And then we sort of worked it out, whereas we kind of flew him to some races, and then he drove. Like
Because we're
Yeah.
good friends, like with his wife as well. Her and I are really good
That's
friends, and so it was almost
Yeah,
spending
social.
time
Yeah,
with
definitely.
friends
Yeah.
anyway. So
Do you find that with Enduro? There is some more of a social aspect compared to motocross?
yeah,
A bit?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's super competitive, and like
course.
looking at the last at least the last 5 years, like it's some of the fastest guys in the world.
Yep.
But they're still all pretty good people. You know, like it's not. I don't know. It's just you're not racing each other in the sense. Sure, we have cross countries where you're racing each other, and it can be banging bars towards the end of the race and stuff like that. But 90% of the time, we're racing the clock. So who cares who's next to you? Like the clock doesn't lie. It's not like you have to put him, over a berm to be in front of him. Like you go around a circuit on time. So whoever goes around fastest is the fastest
Makes
guy.
sense.
So I just there's not that level of attitude.
Yeah.
I don't think at the races.
I think it's also, especially more back in the day when it was mainly the enduro style, you sort of maybe needed to help each other if something happens
True.
along the trails or something.
Yep.
You knew you weren't gonna finish if you didn't help each other.
Sort of considerate. Sort of,
I think it comes from that as well. At least, that's what I would guess. And then motocross is more you're staying at the hotels and stuff. But here, most of the time we camp. Everyone's camping and hanging out at night around a campfire.
It's a good, it seems like a good field, you know, it really does. How have you seen women's enduro develop in Australia since you came here?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Massively.
Yeah. Been good?
Yeah, it's been really good.
Seems like this year's obviously been an exception for every sport around the world, but it seems like a real healthy environment. You know, it's growing. The riders' levels awesome.
High.
You know, the levels really high. Do you find that as well?
Yeah.
Yep.
The levels definitely stepped up. Like compared to when we moved over here, compared to now, it's a fair few riders now, girls. To some races, it can be like 15 of us in the women's class, which is awesome. When I came over, I think we were like 7 or something, but it was only 2 almost to 3 of us that was fast.
Yep.
And all of us have stepped it up even more now. Some races now, it's a bit sad that might not be as many, but the ones that are there, the first 5 at least, are sort of fast, and then it's a gap and it's a little bit slower, but there's more and more getting in there. And then the motocross, I reckon
crazy.
that's grown heaps.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the speed.
It's actually a battle there all the time now.
Yeah, it's proper racing across the whole class. You know, there's always someone to race with fast. So, How do you think there'd be a way to improve it? Do you think there'd be to get more people into it? What do you think? What do you think? Like, what do both of you think to get more people into enduro? What do you think the best method is?
I don't know. One thing I think is that they need to advertise the races a little bit more, because we don't get any spectators at the nationals, and a lot of people, when we come to the smallest towns and that, they don't even know the nationals is on. So if we get more spectators, more people get to know about the sport and see the sport and see how good it is, and hanging out with friends, and then you'll get to race at the same time. And I think that's a big thing.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It just keeps families together as well.
Yeah.
I grew up racing, you grew up racing. I mean, how many teenagers do you see spending time with their family, like on a weekend? Like, they want to go hang out with friends, they want to go to parties, they want to do this. And I'm sure we've done that as well. But I just genuinely think that it's a sport that you can't do on your own. When you're growing up, you need your family there.
Yep.
Unless you're living in America and you've got some millionaire paying you to go race with these race teams. But like, you generally need your family, and you can't do it on your own. So it keeps you away from a lot of other stuff that, you know,
segregation from influences.
So I just think it's a shame that don't get even more people to do it. So I think it's just somehow educating people of what it is and what it involves. And it's actually a funny story. Guys that I work with, they have all young kids. They all have young kids. And then some of them come from surfing background, like semi-pro surfing.
Wow. Yep.
Some of them are just, they just work. They're just normal workers, and then all that sort of stuff. And then we're doing some work for some pretty famous artists at the moment in where we're working.
Is he a singer?
No, so artists, when I say artists, it's painting and stuff like that.
Yep.
So they're not motorbike people, right?
Yep.
And then the guys I work with, they have, like, every Wednesday night, they have, at one of the guys' parents' property, they have little Wednesday night GPs. They're all on PW50s, little mini bikes for their kids.
Yep.
And they all get together, have a great time. The kids are loving it and everything. And we've been talking to these clients of ours, like, you got to come, because they got young kids. Like, come up one Wednesday sort of thing. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll do it. And I think they talked about it for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yep.
And then I think it was 2 weeks ago, they came out. We were on the job on the Wednesday. And James, I'm working for, he's like, all right, so you're coming tonight. He doesn't give him an opportunity. It's like, he doesn't say like, oh, do you guys want to come? It's like, it's all right, you're coming tonight.
Lock it
like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. Like, no, you're coming. And like, okay, let's go. So they brought their little, I think he's, I'm not sure on the age, maybe 7, 8 years old, Vinny. And he's not a motorbike kind of guy. He's just hasn't grown up in that environment. His dad hasn't grown up in that environment. And they went there and they had like the best time of their lives.
Wow.
And they come home and they came to work the next day, and I was hearing all these stories from Vinny. Like, he'd never been on a motorbike before, and he's like, apparently that night after he'd been riding and everything, he'd said to his Dad, I've had the most magnificent day of my life, the most magical day of my life. And it's pretty easy too. He goes, wow, it was pretty easy. But he was riding around and didn't want to stop. And it's like that kid probably never would have seen a motorbike or touched a motorbike if not for a long time anyway, if it wasn't for introducing him to that. So a lot of people out there don't know that they would enjoy it. Like, he probably never really thought about riding a motorbike. Well, my parents never ridden a bike. But so back to your question is how to make people get into the sport more is just introduce it to them somehow. So it might just be seeing it. Like, it could be heaps of people, like, wherever we're racing, if they can just get their kids out there and have a look at it, like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I might try my friend's bike next weekend, and then they fall in love with it. But if you don't get spectators to races, if you don't promote it, then you're just going to get the same people coming there.
Yeah.
So,
and the same people are people that are going to come, even if it's advertised or not.
Yeah,
it's the
exactly.
races, you know.
Yeah.
All people in the know, you know, that know that it's going to be on. So it needs to be out there.
Yeah,
it really does. So
for sure, it's a good sport.
Yeah,
like, it's brought us to a different country. It's given us heaps of different opportunities, and it doesn't do that for everyone. Like, you got to work hard to get good opportunities. But like,
and you don't have to do it on that level either.
Sure.
Like, even if you're just going riding for fun, you still do it as a family most of the time.
Sure.
Or you do it as with a group of friends when you get older. You don't need your parents to drive you, but you still go with them.
Sport.
Yeah, it's a really social sport.
What I see with it too is, like, there's so many weekend warriors myself, like, that go ride pretty much some of the tracks that you'd be racing on, some of the things, that think that racing, I can't go and race because it's for pros only.
Yeah.
You know, but you're going to be riding a lot of the same sort of terrain at least.
Yeah.
Be good to be able to try and convert those people, you know, more of those sorts of folk over. And I know with road racing, they do it with the track days, you know, like the club that I'm associated with in Queensland.
Yeah.
They have, you know, come and try day. So you come and try the track, and then the next season might be 30 people come and try.
Yeah.
2 of them might sign up, but that's 2 extra people in the sport, you know. I thought that was a real good initiative. But
Yeah.
What's been a good day in racing life for both of you?
A good day
In racing life. What's been a fun one?
It's one of those days when you're not limping around, you're not injured.
Yeah.
But,
They're good days.
Yeah, they're the good days. But I mean, shit, there's so many good days. Like, I think we both love everything about it, like when it comes to training and riding and everything. So, like...
Or do you mean a special memory?
Special memory as well.
Yeah.
What's a good day like? What's been a...
Probably my best...
Yeah.
Oh, I got a couple,
Yeah.
but some of the best is, of course, when you have a good results.
For sure.
Like, 2 of the best ones is when I won the European Championship round in Italy.
Yeah.
It was on a borrowed bike. It was 2013. I was on a KTM 350 because that's all I could get hold of over there.
And they must have only just came out too.
Huh?
They must have been pretty new. 350s must have been.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, actually. But I just had the best time because over there, everyone just loves it. There were spectators everywhere. They were cheering you on the trails. And, and I won it. So they just wanted to come up and talk to you. And I didn't expect it at all because it was just a borrowed bike. And the reason I went there was to the Swedish 6-day team. Because I lived here, they wouldn't pick me if I didn't do a race over in Europe. So I went to that round just to race it.
Just to qualify.
Just to qualify to get picked for the 6-day team. And I beat all the other Swedes because I won it. So that was pretty good. That was a good feeling.
That's a special day.
Yeah.
So is that something that they still do? You still got to race to do a 6-day?
Yeah, they still want me to race over there. That's sort of why last year I went home in the summer to do that one race as well.
Yeah.
just to try to get picked for the 6-day team. And
Not that it's crazy. Like, I understand it, but it's a big
Yeah.
it's a big journey.
It makes
Yeah.
sense if you live in Sweden and you're just racing nationals and they want to see you race a European round or a world round or something to prove that you can race in these tough conditions. But when you're racing over here, and Emelie's been battling and racing with the top girls over here, which had
they're winning the
They've
won it like
6-day.
6 years in a row, you think
Correct.
that might be enough.
It's like a credibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
It's a bit, it's a bit both. I
that's
guess.
politics in sport.
Yeah,
That happens.
and I think it's a lot. The other riders is a big thing. I think
For sure.
if they don't get picked, and I get picked over them, and some of them might not even know who I am because I live here, and I think they can feel a bit left out. Maybe.
Yeah,
I
and
think it's so they can
probably.
back it up a bit. Maybe.
Yeah, it's actually on paper there.
Yeah.
You know, they have to see it.
Yeah.
So is that what it's like over there at like an event? Like there's crowds, it's
Oh.
Definitely more crowds.
yeah?
It's
There's just more of an interest of going to
Yeah.
races.
Because it's a big sport, hey, enduro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the motocrosses as well. I did
Sure.
a motocross round as well when I went over last year.
Yep.
It's just packed. It's
That's cool.
completely different, and yeah, especially the enduro ones. When you see people out on the trails and stuff, if there's packed in one spot, it's the same as the 6-day.
Yep.
You just something's technical, easy as a bad hill or something, because there's people everywhere.
That's
But
crazy.
it's sort of fun. It's a really cool feeling as well, especially if you make it through and they just share you on and screaming.
So you can hear it over the bike?
Oh,
Yeah.
They are screaming.
They get
and
on- they get out on the track.
chainsaws
Oh, really?
and they
Yeah.
do it. They just go flat out.
That's
and
cool.
Noise.
What's a 6-day like?
Tough, but heaps of fun. And I haven't had a really good 6-day though. I've done 4, but haven't had a good one. Because I've been on borrowed bikes all the time.
Yep.
It's the first couple I did, it wasn't on a Yamaha, and then it's been a bit hard because I haven't had my own suspension. I haven't had my own bike. I just so want to do it on my bike one year.
Yeah. What happens, say in that case, like do you go to Team Sweden? Do you all go into one truck, or like what happens when you go back to a 6-day, or are you an individual riding for Team Sweden?
You'd be part of the team.
Yeah.
Part of the team?
Yeah.
Do they supply like a mechanic or something? Or
Yeah, they're actually really good with the whole 6-day thing.
Yep.
They've been helping me out to get over there and stuff and try to sort everything out for everyone. They're helping all the Swedes heaps, and they have mechanics there. But all of us also have to bring like a person with us. I think Australia have to do that as well.
Yep.
To help out. And they normally have it like, if it's close, they got a big trailer coming down with the massive setup. We had that, the Husqvarna team
Yep.
truck last year. That's turned into like the Swedish Federation truck now. So they use
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah.
Semi.
Like the Husqvarna
semi.
team truck.
The
Yeah, the
X
X one.
XQ, yeah.
They turned that in for like the MA, but the Swedish Federation then, and striped it all and just as a Swedish one.
That's cool.
And they used that, and we just packed everything, all our stuff in there, and then we flew down to Portugal, and they just drove it, and we just met them there. So that
Everything's
was,
ready?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
And we didn't have to do any setup. They just did that and rolled our bikes out, and then
Such a different way, hey?
Yeah.
So
it's pretty
Just
good.
easier. They're like then
it's
the
smart.
Aussies have to fly containers over there
Yeah.
or whatever. You need a massive setup for a 6-day. You
Such a
need
huge thing,
Yeah.
eh?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably the biggest off-road
yeah.
enduro event anyway, isn't it? In the
Yeah,
world?
especially with different. Not sure about numbers, but it's definitely one of the most extensive races, like biggest races and most, the fastest riders sort of thing in the world. So.
What's your background with Husqvarna? Your dad born in Husqvarna or something, is that right?
Yeah, like
Is that correct?
I grew up in the town of Husqvarna.
Of Husqvarna, hey?
Yeah,
And that's
so-
Husqvarna motorcycle
Absolutely,
as well.
yeah. So the town is where the Husqvarna brand started.
Yeah.
It started with, I think they started making guns back in the day.
Oh, really? Yep.
And then they went to, I don't know in what sort of,
Mowers
how
and
they
stuff.
went, but there was like
Right.
guns and then motorbikes and obviously chainsaws
Yep.
and that sort of stuff and sewing machines.
Sewing machines
Yeah,
and that,
yeah. So, I mean, And the original factory is there still.
Is
and
it?
That's, there's a part of it is, like, most of it's functional. Like, they still run it as
Like
a functioning
industrial,
factory.
yeah.
And then I think they make sewing machines and maybe chainsaws there. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but it's a massive museum.
They have
there.
a big museum there.
Yeah.
So
It'd be a huge
all,
part of the
old
town.
bikes and stuff in there. It's a pretty cool
That'd be
museum.
cool.
Yeah.
Huge part of the town, hey?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's a
Definitely.
really nice town, I
Yeah.
reckon, with some water flowing through, and
Yeah.
it's really nice.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
Cool.
that's what brought, like, my old man over here. He was riding for Husqvarna
Yep.
in Sweden. He was he was only in his early 20s or something like that.
So had he ever been here before this? Like
Never.
purely to
So
race motocross?
He got an opportunity to come over here, and he's like, why not?
Wasn't it 78?
78.
Yeah.
His first
It was.
racing season was 78.
Here.
Yeah.
And for those that are listening and don't, like, that's Emelie Granquist,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And so he started his career in Oz in 78.
Yeah, he started his Australian career here.
Yep.
He'd raced over in Europe, and don't think he was. I'm not sure if he'd done any world rounds before.
Mm-hmm.
He might have done the odd one, world motocross rounds, but he came over here. Did I think it was 3 seasons maybe?
Mm-hmm.
He won like some championships and stuff like that, and
Mr.
Mr.
Motocross stuff.
Motocross,
And that,
and he's. That's why, yeah. I know he's won a lot of stuff, but it's nothing that's really been talked about that much.
Right.
We all know that he was a good rider, but he doesn't talk much of it. He's never had trophies up in the house.
Really?
Like, they've always been in boxes. I think I have a memory of.
It was one.
I have a memory of one trophy that was always somewhere, and it was like a wooden trophy, and it was the outline of Australia, like the country.
Really?
And I can't remember what it was from.
Because I
Yeah.
even seen that one.
Not sure what it was even.
But he never spoke
from.
of it too much, or not?
Like, I even remember growing up when I was in like mid-teens and stuff, trying to, get some information out of him and stuff like that. And he just, not that he didn't talk about it, but didn't interest him that much. It's like, oh, that was ages ago. Like,
Different part of the
yeah,
life.
yeah. And the funny thing with him is, like, when he stopped racing like properly, like he went from motocross and then into enduro. When he sort of stopped racing, he hardly rode a bike again. Like, he rode every now and then.
Really? Just turn the
Like
tap
once
off.
a year or something, yeah. Just like, no, like we rode. My brother was always riding a lot
Yep.
when we were younger. So he was out with him and stuff. And I just remember, like, he didn't really care too much of it. But when he got on a bike, he'd ride for like an hour, do like an hour motor around a motocross track. Yeah,
And then he was
yeah,
done
like,
for
oh,
a
yeah.
bit again.
Oh, that was fun. All right, I'll ride again in 2 years.
Few years time.
Yeah.
Can you guys see yourselves doing that? Like, or do you enjoy it too much? Like, just one day just going, no, that's it.
Yeah, nah.
I don't want to. I hope I don't ever stop.
Just want to keep doing it.
Yeah, at the moment, I can't see myself
Yep.
quitting, like, fully. Of course, not racing on the
Yeah.
same level, but we've both been saying
Yeah.
I hope I always have a bike and
Yep.
have that opportunity to have a bike
Yeah.
all the time. Like,
Because when you're so involved, like you're racing it and you're riding, you're practicing on them, I just find it so difficult to think about just turning the tap off one day and just
Yeah.
not doing it again, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think it could be hard. Some people might put that much in. Like, we all put a lot into it as well, but for a lot of people, winning is everything. Like, winning is just the only thing. It's not fun if it's not winning. And it's been like that for me a long time. Like, maybe might not have won a lot, but like getting quality results. Otherwise, shit day. Like, but in the past couple of years, I can still enjoy having a off day.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably because I'm getting a bit older. And I don't really care about it
We're
that much
not
anymore.
really- we
but it's
sort
like,
of
it's not everything anymore.
So are you, like you're a pretty cruisy guy. You surf, you mountain bike, you do a lot of fun activity. Were you a pretty tense 25-year-old racer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty.
Very?
Very.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was everything to me
Yeah, man,
for
they
a
were.
long time.
Yeah.
Like, that was what I wanted to do.
He was sort of, everyone knew Stefan in Sweden at the races.
Well, like there's like
It
a
was-
perimeter.
It was pretty,
It could be a bit
it
fiery at times.
could
yeah.
be a bit fiery.
Yeah.
Easy.
I got a good
said.
story, actually.
Tell us.
Yeah. So
I got a fair few stories.
there's a lot of stories, but there's one story that I think is almost good for me, sort of thing. So this is on one of those pre-season trips down in Italy. And I'd ridden, I don't know, like 4 days in a row, and we've been in Holland and we've been riding so much, and I was just like, no, I need a rest day, because we're going to spend a couple of days in northern Italy. I think it is a track that's pretty sure not up and running anymore, but it's like the best track in the universe, called Asti.
Mm-hmm.
It is. You look it up, like it is.
It's amazing.
Ask anyone that raced in the 90s or 2000s or whatever, like it is the
Asti's
best
the
track
one.
in the world.
Yeah.
And this is my first time going to this track. And I was like, I've ridden 4 days in a row, my body's sore, like I'm not going to ride. And the conditions were perfect, but I sat out half the day, like, no, I'm not riding, I need a rest, we're going to be here for a couple of days. Anyway, so I'd sat around watching, and I'm pretty sure there was some really fast guys there. I can't remember who it was, but it was on a Yamaha 250, factory Yamaha. I think it was Pauline. I think he was on a 250 back then.
Full Euro factory.
Full factory Yamaha, yeah. And he was riding around, and anyway, so, and then in the end, just after lunch, I'm like, nah, all right, I'm riding. I can't sit here anymore. And I gear up, and I'm super excited. I'm that excited, and I do like sort of half a side lap around the track, and I come around, it's all up and down hills. And I come around, and there's this sort of pretty decent size, I don't know if it was a step down or just a decent sized tabletop, but down a hill. And then there's like a pretty decent hill continuous after this jump. And as I jump, going down this jump, my bike stops in the middle of the air. And I'm just going, whew, just sailing like quiet, just like on my way to death. And literally landed on the front wheel and wiggle, and then crashed. So I didn't fully cartwheel, because that would have been pretty nasty. And then I was that angry. I knew exactly what happened straight away. I was just that angry. It was ridiculous. I just brushed myself off. I wasn't badly injured, but I was pretty bruised and hardly any skin left on my arm. Walked my bike back to the car, down to the pits. And people were like, what the hell happened? My brother was there, a couple other friends. Like, what the freaking hell? Wasn't that your first lap? Like, I just fucking ran out of fuel. Just parked my bike, took my helmet off, went behind the van, and I smashed my helmet to the tow bar and left it on, like the tow bar went through the helmet.
I was there just watching him.
Yeah, I smashed my helmet, then I just walked off.
So what is this?
It was a new
08?
helmet.
Yeah.
Oh, no. So you guys would have just probably been together not too long.
I don't know, when was this? It was 2010. This was the last season before we moved over here. And I was
So we got together
having a good crack at it.
2008. So we've been together for 2 years then.
So 2 years in, you see him smashing his helmet across the
And
tow bar.
everything. I was just so angry. I was just so furious, because I was like, I could have died then.
For sure.
Just because I didn't put
It's a
fuel in my
mistake.
bike.
Yeah.
But that's how my brain worked at the time. Like, I was
Just
just angry with
crushed.
myself. So I was like, I got to get this fury out of me somehow.
And off goes the helmet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
He
probably still
calmed
in the hills.
down as older he's been getting, but it's been a lot of that stuff going on, especially in Sweden. And he was known for crashing in Sweden.
Yeah.
And it was never small crashes.
No.
It was always coming flying through the air,
Big
and
ones.
just these massive ones, and everyone knew, oh, that's Granquist again.
So were you a sender?
I think so. 'Cause
yeah.
That's what it is.
I didn't
And
actually
wild.
race.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't race until I was like 15, 16.
Really?
Yeah, so I rode from when I was a kid to like 10,
Yeah.
12, just rode, didn't have a license or
In-
anything.
in down here,
Swe-
obviously?
In Sweden.
Oh,
Yeah,
in
well, we moved from here to Australia, to Sweden when I was 7.
7. Yeah.
So I rode for like a couple of years there. And then I just got into soccer, skateboarding, all that sort of stuff, and I wasn't that interested in motorbikes. So but my brother kept going, so that was we always went to races, and my dad was there with him and stuff. And I just wasn't interested. But then started coming with my brother a couple of times when I was like 15, and then started racing when I was 16. And then going from riding when I was a kid, but I was just I was just loose. I wasn't very good. But I went from being super slow and loose to going quicker, and I just gradually got fast.
But still loose.
But just didn't have a clue.
The
what
technique
I was
wasn't there, it
doing.
was
No
just
technique
fast.
whatsoever. So I went from gradually going super fast. Like, when I say super fast, this is just like national level. It's not, anyway, but my level just went that much higher that quick, and I just kept on crashing. I couldn't stay on the ground. Just weird stuff all the time. So really, even up until when we moved out here, I was still kind
The
of
first couple of
on the
years
back
here
end of
was a
that.
bit.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
even out here, I always have a crack. Like I remember
The first race here in Bulladilla, the first nationals we did when you
Yeah.
were on Ballard's team, yeah, you had such a bad concussion that you did not know where you were when
Yeah.
you came back in.
Wow.
It's like the first race here, just, oh, come on.
What have you done to me?
yeah. So I've always had that. So I think but then it's funny though, because then the second, like these last 10 years, I've turned into being like a pretty smooth,
Consistent
consistent rider. Maybe not the fastest rider, but I think I'm considered to be fairly smooth.
Where'd you get your technique from? Obviously, you've both practiced on technique so much to a point now. Did you just go to like a training thing or something at one point?
I never ever had a trainer. You've had a few
You had a rider
trainers.
trainer?
I had 2 trainers.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Sweden. I haven't
Okay.
had anyone here.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did a lot of technique. My technique used to be better than what it is now. Because
Really?
if you don't keep it up,
Yeah.
you need to keep it up. I wish I did. I
Bad
wish I had
habits, eh?
some of my.
That's the thing. The little things. the
Yeah.
habits.
So I wish I had some of them here. When I go back, I've been training a couple of times with Anders Eriksson. He's a 7-time world champion in Enduro. So I've been doing a couple of camps with him the times I've been back to Sweden, and he's amazing.
Really?
I wish he was here. So good practice
handy.
with him. But yeah, he's really good at explaining stuff. And so sometimes I try to bring that back here and keep practice. But then you sort of get into the habit, and sometimes you feel like, because we work during the week and we would ride on the weekends, and you feel like you only got this amount of time.
Yep.
You just try to do what you can with that, and you don't really spend it on technical stuff, but you should.
So what sort of things do they do, like drills, like repeat drills or something like that?
Yeah, and just heaps of position training, maybe no brakes, no clutch, and
One hand rides.
Yeah, just
really?
So like
yeah,
a flat
just,
corner just on using one hand.
just
wow.
to get more.
So what do you
comfortable with
think
stuff.
you'd get out of riding with one hand?
I know on the road, like we do that with road bike training quite a bit, and it's about using your body more.
Yeah.
So is that
using
the same?
your,
obviously?
using your knees, using your
and that,
core,
using your
Yeah.
hips and stuff.
Just
So it's the
engaging
same?
that side
Yeah.
of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And it's just heaps of different stuff.
Wow.
And then
Just sounds so weird on dirt.
You can't necessarily do it on a super rough
Yeah,
track,
but
but you want something
Yeah.
like corner tracks and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
And then when you're not using brakes and clutch and that, just to get smoother.
Mm. So the smooth is the thing, though, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
it is all about that.
Yeah, a
So-
combination of smoothing and aggression, but you got to find that limit.
Yep.
If you go over the limit all the time, you're just going to be on the ground. So.
Mm. What's a good Stefan story that you can think of? We've got the helmet smash that he's told himself. You said you had one.
Yeah, that's one I thought about as well. And then...
Without getting him into strife, obviously, with himself, but...
You did break your hand once from getting angry. I don't know if I want to say that whole thing, but smashing the wall from being angry with just stuff happening with the not the results you want. But no, I don't know. It's just a fair few here and there.
Yep.
I got more like crashes, I think, more, and
Big
then
ones.
you're angry after, but from being loose. I remember that one in the first round of the year. We go to in Sweden, it's a really soft sand track. We normally start off the Motocross Nationals there because it can still be a bit wet. So the first round is normally sandy. Deep sand, so because it can take the rain.
Absorb it, yeah.
Yeah. And my mom, she's definitely not the one that got me and my brother into riding.
She's not a fan?
Oh, she only comes because we love it. She's not a fan of motorbike riding. She's never ever been riding, and she's not into that stuff. But she loves that we loves it and just comes with us.
Just to
But
support you guys.
just to support us. But she never watched a motocross start. She just I don't need to see
I want
that.
to see the start.
Nah. And so she leaves the first lap, and then she sort of walks out, and she just I need to watch Steph because we got together then.
Yeah.
And she went out and watched him. It was this big straight, and she just, did you really have to do that in front of me? She just
Right.
sees him coming flying, like he
Without
just
the
got
bike.
them without the bike,
Just
just
a human.
through the air, just.
I remember that crash.
Yeah.
I was flying like a helicopter horizontally, like
Yeah,
just
like
Oh, really?
this.
Yeah.
Flat.
Pancake.
You know
Oh.
how sand can grab you, but it was like down this fast straight, and I think I might have. I'm thinking I might have like bottomed out the shock somehow, and then
And
it
it just-
sidestepped.
That's right.
And I think it was like one or two, so you get that movement, and then just flung me, and I was literally laying horizontal, just flying, doing.
And it was
doing 360s.
like a long way, and it was right where she was standing, and she just
turned
turned
off her
around and
yeah.
just walked back
Yeah.
again. She just, I don't need to come out and watch again. But and then it was a lot of those big crashes. But you've been pretty lucky with injuries. If you think about all the crashes you had.
Tell me about ACL. How did you do that?
That was, yeah. I would say it's not my fault, but it was a weird injury because that was first lap of a national it wasn't a national, it was like it was a national motocross, but we have different types of races in Sweden, like club nationals. Anyway, so this is first lap, and I got a decent start, and then high-sided or had some sort of crash at the end of this straight coming into a corner. It was actually probably almost halfway down this straight because it was still people going pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I was one of the top, say, 4 or 5, I remember crashing and then standing up, being a bit dazed, and I clearly remember looking at a guy coming straight for me. And for me, it felt like I was standing there for, a minute, wondering where this guy was going to go, but it probably was only a couple of seconds. But I really clearly remember seeing this guy coming straight for me, and I felt like I was standing in the middle of the track going like, which way is he going to go? He's going straight for me. Like, which way do I go?
Yeah.
And then just literally before he hit me, I jumped out of the way. And his front wheel hit the inside of my left leg and spun me around into the air. And then like literally when the front wheel hit my inside of the leg, my knee just went like that. And just ACL, other ligaments, and it just made a mess of the whole thing.
So you have a full knee reco?
Had a full ACL and whatever.
Full what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't do the MCL, but that's the other side, I think. Or
Medial?
yeah, whatever it is.
Yep.
But it, did some serious damage. Like my knee was just like, I remember sitting like on the side of my van afterwards, and I took my boots off and stuff, and I could just sit there, my knee would just go like that. Just
Yuck.
yeah.
How do you go now?
So-
Like you started surfing 2 years ago?
Yeah, just over 2 years ago.
Does your knee give you any grief surfing?
At times it can.
Yeah.
But the knee that I've had surgery on is what I would call my good knee at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the other knee's been a little bit troublesome over the last couple of years.
Yep.
So that can play up a bit. I think it might be maybe a meniscus thing because
Yep.
it just every now and then locks up a little bit and it can get like inflamed.
Yep.
So I'm thinking there's something in there,
Something
which
floating.
it doesn't hold me up, doesn't hurt me as much as I want to go and get surgery on it right now. But I'm thinking a little bit further down the track, it might have to do something about that one. But.
Have you had any joint issues? Knees, shoulders?
I did my knee at what was it? But the
Finland.
outside. No, the knee was in Sweden 2017, the European Championship.
Oh, really?
But my biggest one is my arm, and I had a compound.
Yeah.
And
Shattered collarbone.
shattered a collarbone at the same time and a really bad concussion.
Mm.
So I still can't remember anything from it.
It's gone.
But yeah, that day is sort of gone. But
How do you go with the concussions? Do you have any issues? No? Because you would have had a few saying the big crashes and that.
I'll probably count 5 to 6 proper
Big
concussions.
ones.
Yeah.
And I've always, most of the time, been pretty careful afterwards.
Yep.
I think I had
And-
3 big ones.
Yeah.
And
I think we've been pretty-
but we've been, because I think they take them more serious in Sweden than here. So we sort of got brought up with you shouldn't,
The smarts.
like,
Just
concussion
educated.
is
Educated.
almost,
Yeah.
concussion is worse than a broken bone because
You can't
just
see it.
because you can't see it doesn't mean it's bad, sort of thing. Here people go with, shit, how are you? If someone crashed and you ask them, and they just, it was just a concussion. Just a concussion? That's almost worse because you can get problems further down the line.
sure.
We got a friend over there. He got problems now. He had
He lost a fair bit of his eyesight in the left eye after
From concussion.
Yeah, but
he had a couple
later
and then
on.
the second concussion, he had like this big grey spot in his eye, and I'm pretty sure he still has it.
Yeah.
So he stopped riding altogether. And
Yeah, it can be. There's been so many times like you go out and you just hear, oh no, you get back up, you'll be right, because you don't know you've been concussed at the start. You probably an hour later you start to feel that.
Yeah. Or generally, if you have a decent concussion, you get the common signs. You know, you're asking the same question over and over again, and if you get, I don't think you have to be super concussed, but like sometimes some people throw up and all that sort of stuff, but.
I don't think I ever done that when I've been concussed. I haven't been throwing up. I've been just repeating myself, saying the same thing. Have no idea what's going on.
It's very strange when it happens.
Yeah, you can't take. You think they're taking the piss. You don't.
You
think
do.
Yeah.
It's like when I had a big one up at Sunny Corner.
Yeah.
That one in Sunny Corner. Apparently, I was out for a long time
Wow.
because was it Wonka?
One of his friends
Came up to me
You
or
heard this
something?
like a year later.
Yeah.
He thought you were dead.
He thought I was dead because I was laying there for a
Been hooked
while
up by
apparently.
yourself.
And then when he got there, sort of waking up again, but he said I started a couple of minutes in front of him.
Wow.
It was we were doing sprints, and he said, and then when he got there and he like shaking me around, that's when I sort of jumped up again, and I jumped on the bike. And he just, oh, you shouldn't ride. I just, no, I'm fine. And I just drove that's amazing. How could I find my way back? But apparently I followed the track because he did. I'm not going to let her go. So he rode with me all the way in. But I just followed the track all the way in. And you guys heard that something happened.
No, this is like, you've been gone forever. Probably 15 minutes past from when you should have been back from your test. Like from a 15-minute test.
Yep.
So like, okay, something's happened. Then we got reports that Emelie's crashed. Okay, but we didn't know what was what. And then we didn't know exactly where you were, but we knew sort of where you were. And you couldn't like drive down there because it's the way that track's laid out. You sort of bushland and stuff. So me and someone else,
Cormac.
Tom
McCormack.
we started walking down because I think we'd finished our day.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we probably wouldn't.
It was
have
the
walked
last sprint of the day.
Yeah.
It was the last sprint, and
Yeah.
I had a perfect day and been riding this track the whole time. Apparently, I hit a wombat hole that been like collapsing.
Oh, really?
That we've been riding over
just
all
dropped your
day,
front
but
wheel
then it collapsed
Some
or
sort of
something.
big crash. Yeah.
Yeah,
We started walking down, and then you came back.
I came up.
Came back up there, and you didn't know where you were. Didn't know anything.
That's what as you said though. It's like someone's taking the piss.
Yeah.
You know, it's like because if you don't know, so one of my close friends. There's a place up in Brisbane, or 2 hours west of Brizzy, called Black Duck Valley. It used to be like a ride park. It was before ride parks were sort of a thing, and it was just this hard ground. It was motocross tracks. We used to go out there every weekend. It was just good fun. And same deal with him. He didn't realise he'd hit his head, and he crashed, but we didn't see it or anything. He got back up, rode. We were in the car on the way home, and he's talking, and we didn't know anything. There was no scratches on the helmet or anything. And we were like 23, oblivious to the education. He said something, and half an hour later, the same topic.
Same thing.
We just sort of didn't know anything about concussions either. And then same thing, so went back home. My mum's a nurse. What's going on? Oh, you need to keep an eye on him. Like it's serious, you know. And it needs to be something that's told more, you know.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah. So,
It's definitely scary.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when you get to someone that is in that stage, if they're just repeating everything, you're not sure what to do because you just, are you kidding? Yeah, like
you're joking.
You always think they're joking to start with, and then you just, oh no, and then it's
serious.
scary.
Yeah, it's probably scary. So
Yeah.
Probably one of my least proud of moments in racing.
Yep.
Just in terms of how everything happened. So this is, I was racing in Sweden, and I had one of my really good close mates mechanicking for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to race himself, and he helped me. Like, he put aside a lot of time that year to come to races and help me. And this was a time qualifying of the Swedish Nationals. And I'm out there trying to put down a heater, and then my shifter, I think I tweaked the shifter, like gear shifter, the week before or something, so I put a new shifter on.
Yep.
And then, anyway, whatever happened was a couple laps into the time qualifying, I only had like 15 minutes to put down the heater. And my shifter I must have stood on it. Something happened, but it like blew all the splines out, so the shifter dropped.
Yep.
Couldn't change gears. So I get into the pits, all flustered, and I'm like, oh, need to get. I had a shifter in the gear bag just for stuff because when you need to have spare bits and pieces. I was like, oh, get that out. And I was going through the tools. I didn't even let him do it. I'm like, oh, I've got to get this. I've only got 10 minutes to go.
I was there in the pits with him, with his mechanic. And Steph just grabbed the backpack
grabbing the bag
and just throwing his stuff out.
I need to fix this now.
Just
He couldn't find an 8mm for that bolt.
The most common thing that you've got.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's and I'm just where's the 8mm? Where's the 8mm? I don't know. I didn't pack the tools.
It was there, but he just pulled everything out. So stuff was just going everywhere.
So in the end, so I'm like, where is it? Don't you have one? I don't know. It should be in there. And I just grabbed the bag, threw the bag on the ground like a little child, jumped on the bag. What I'm achieving with that, I do not know.
It was so
and then walked off.
Good tantrum.
Because I couldn't, proper 2-year-old tantrum. And then he didn't say a word.
Yep.
Didn't say a word.
Well, he's been your good friend forever. He's probably
he went up to him after and said he's never ever going to come with him again.
If you do anything like that again, I'll never, ever come with you to a race. And I properly apologise. Mate, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. But that's one of those moments where I could not control. And there was people everywhere. I looked like the biggest idiot. Yeah. And I couldn't hold it back, at that time.
Yep.
Yeah,
but it's taken me many years to try and funnel that fury that I can find. And I think people have seen that over the years at races, and when it comes to battling with other people and stuff like that, I can have that switch where I just go
it's on.
And I don't hardly know what I'm doing sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's something I'm working on.
I think with age too, I think that
you definitely
it gets beaten out of you, but it gets out of you.
Yeah.
Well, not out of you, but it's not as it doesn't come up every week and as much maybe.
No, but it's something that's there all the time.
You've been working on it heaps as well, and there was a guy that helped you a bit working on it, trying to change your thinking when this happens, and
trying to
that
open
deal,
up the brain.
that deal helped. So it's been better.
Slowly getting there. But it's pretty weird. I do come across and I feel like I'm cruisy a lot of the time. And I don't let things get to me, but then I sometimes have something just pokes that right spot.
Yep.
There's no stopping me.
It's funny because you do the dealings I've had. You do seem so cruisy.
Yeah, it's like if I tell people sometimes they just if they tell me Stephanie must be the cruisiest guy and just so calm, no, he's definitely not.
Not all the time.
They don't believe me. No. Just I got a couple of stories.
Just a couple of but the goods weigh out the bads.
Yeah.
You'd have to ask her.
These days.
No. Tell me about racing in Australia.
Yeah.
What's racing in Australia been like?
Shit, it's been pretty awesome. Yeah.
We're still here. It was supposed to be a 1-year thing, so I guess that says something. But
when did you base yourselves up here?
3 years ago.
In Nelson Bay.
Was it 3 years?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's more. In March, it's 4 years.
So did you go to the Blue Mountains area before this?
We were based there the whole time.
Based there?
We were renting a place there.
Yep.
In Hazelbrook for
5 years.
4
years. 4 years we were there. Yeah. 4 years in Hazelbrook. And then...
we stayed... Well, we were 6 years in Blue Mountains.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then we were actually looking at the time, we wanted to buy a place.
Mm-hmm.
And we were really, from the first year we moved out here, we were tossing out it was just 1 year at a time. We'll stay another year. We'll stay another year. And we're and family and friends were like, well, what are you guys doing? Are you coming? You going? What are you actually doing?
My parents were asking every year, are you coming back home? And then we were like, not sure. And then they just, that means you're probably going to stay because you would have started planning that already. At the start, I think it was easy for us to just stay. I think it was a bit like that. It just kept rolling because we didn't really want to deal with it again or something.
And it got to the point where we're either going to go... we almost made our mind on going back to Sweden. I think. We were pretty close to it anyway.
Yeah.
And then we were like, well, we either go back to Sweden, or if we're going to stay here, we're not going to stay in the mountains. Like you specifically said, I want to live near the beach.
I said if I'm going to stay here, yeah, it was more me than you, because you were a bit, we can't do that.
Yeah.
I was, yes, we can. I'm not staying here if we're not moving closer to the beach, because we both love the beach, and we were always travelling down to Sydney to go to the beach. But we could come down there and the weather's crap down there, and then we just went home again.
Yeah.
And
so it made sense.
we started looking at places there as well, and it was just didn't get anything for the money. I didn't want to live there. No. And I'm not staying here. So, and then I started looking at places here in this area, and since the first year we were here, we could go here for a weekend, because I think the first time we came here was because we trained with Merriman, because he used to live here.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That's great.
He just moved into Newcastle last year or 2 years ago. He lived in Salamander before that. So we came here training with him, and that's how we came across.
Got introduced to the area, basically.
Yeah.
Tell you what a good training playground around here, though.
Oh.
Sand,
there's a lot.
Dirt, mountains, there's a bit of everything,
Several different
Dry.
sort of mountain areas to choose from. There's not a lot of open tracks in terms of, you go and pay money to ride a motocross track. That's got very limited. I think there's only a couple, but there's a lot of opportunity, especially if you're riding enduro. There's a lot of places that are really good around here.
So a good spot for both of you to base yourself as well. To come up here, wouldn't it?
And that's where we felt like this is a place where we can still probably not as much or easy riding as the mountains. We could just go. We had probably more places closer to us up there in one way, but we just, if we go here, we can still do our training, the riding, and we're almost more central to the races than we were in the mountains. So I started looking at places here because we really love the area, and being closer to the water, Sydney, first of all, it's expensive, but then it's too busy, and it's not the kind of living we want to live. We want to be in and people were surprised with moving here because it's mainly older people. But it's the best move ever. Yeah. We love it. It's so good. We
don't go to any nightclubs or anything. It might happen once or twice a year at a presentation or something. We go out, but we don't need that sort of thing that too much.
It's not our kind of living. We're more active with people.
An active lifestyle.
Yeah, we'd rather wake up on a Sunday morning and go and do something than feel hungover or something like that.
There's nothing worse.
No.
Especially 20. It was okay.
Yeah.
But 30. No, I don't really like it.
Especially when it takes 2 days or 3 days to get
it's not cool. It's just really not good.
Last year's Christmas party was pretty much bang on a year to today. We had a big Christmas party and had way too much to drink.
Yep.
He had promised me that we were going to ride the next day.
Big promise to make after Christmas
that
party.
was a big
But
promise.
I took the van into the party because I might stay the night there because I probably couldn't drive.
Got your options.
Ended up spending 3 hours sitting on the side of the van, throwing up everything I had in my guts.
Questioning life.
And then
driving home.
Eventually drove home there, when I felt like I had some food and all that sort of stuff. Felt like I'd hopefully be
pretty good to go.
Within the limits. Came home and Emma was fuming. I was supposed to be home hours ago. And they're like, and Emma's like, no, we're going riding. I don't care. I was laying on this couch. Could not get out. It's
like just a piece of timber.
You're coming with me. Anyway, came out, got geared up, had another spew. Rode out to the track, had another spew, lay down. Did some
I was doing laps and he could hardly do times, but he was doing some times, and then he was just laying next to the track, sleeping, and I was just doing laps around him.
Oh, jeez. This was only last year.
Yeah. And I reckon that was probably the only time I actually drank a lot. I don't mind a couple of beers and all that sort of stuff, but I cannot handle. If I drink too much and get carried away.
And you guys started
I'll pay
mixing
for it for days.
stuff. Yeah,
it's not good.
I don't want that anymore.
No, there's more, and there's more to life. There's a lot more to life than being hungover.
I hate it with a passion being hungover.
We're just laying in the middle of the track, ain't real fun.
And then this chick, she can drink twice as much as me, and she
this is actually on a podcast.
Yeah, well, you can
every day.
She doesn't drink during the week ever, but go to a party, she'll drink more than pretty much everyone.
And wake up fresh?
Yes.
No hangover.
No, I don't get hangover. probably now when I'm older, but I didn't used to.
It's good.
And he's always been the worst with hangovers.
Yeah.
So it's so boring because the day after I'm fine.
You're ready to go.
Might be a bit tired because I haven't had enough sleep, but I just want to go and do stuff. But he's crook for the whole next day.
Can't do
It's
it.
so boring.
Yeah, it's not cool.
No.
And you get 50 weekends of the year. The last thing you want to do is a Sunday, just sitting on the couch doing
Yeah.
nothing, So
Yeah.
Can't imagine people do it every weekend, to be honest.
terrible.
Yeah.
Be terrible. A little bit of money
people.
too.
Bad people.
Bad people. Be terrible. Just the cash
They
too.
just need to find a hobby.
Yeah.
I actually watched something on YouTube. I spent a fair bit of time at night when she works nights.
Yep.
So I'll just sit there and watch YouTube clips and stuff. And I saw this a YouTube video from an old surfer, and it was about the video was the natural high. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And he's like, he grew up in the pro surfing 90s era.
Good era.
I can't even remember what his name was. He was talking about there was a lot of partying going on, a lot of drugs, a lot of everything like that. And he said he didn't interest him, sort of thing. But he's talking about the natural highs in doing stuff, and that's what I feel is worth spending. It doesn't matter how much money you spend on it. Like if you feel good from doing something that's good for you,
Positive.
yeah. Like an adrenaline. Like adrenaline is basically what you'd think most drugs would try and
That's what you're chasing.
chase. Yeah. Why not get it naturally? Like,
I agree.
Going riding motorbikes, like surfing for me has been massive, even though I'm not very good at it. But it's been that's definitely my probably biggest passion at the moment, trying to figure that stuff out, and mountain bike riding. And
Were you good in the water originally?
I've always loved the water.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say do you mean by surfing good in the water?
Just comfortable, because it takes a lot to be comfortable.
I did find like small things as like being able to paddle the board and not like like finding the way,
rhythm and that,
the rhythm and that. But the biggest thing for me, I could stand up like within the first couple of times, but I just couldn't surf. But what's really taken me a long time is spending the time in the ocean and learning the ocean movements and being able to get onto waves. Like if you have the perfect wave, it's not that hard to get on it, I guess. But the ocean moves and it's so unpredictable, and I think for me, being out there and understanding how it works has made it possible for me to now say that I probably can surf, even though I'm not good. Yeah, but
I've seen you turn now.
Yeah. She came out a couple of times
Do you
over the
surf?
course.
No.
No.
I love my stand-up paddle.
Yeah. Isn't it like you've ridden for 25 years now on a motorbike? Does it give you the adrenaline that the bike does, or more?
I'd say it's pretty. Actually, I've thought about that lately. I think there's not many things that gives you that feeling that you get from a motorbike.
I don't have anything else that does the same as the bike does.
There's nothing.
No. For me, surfing's more of the challenge of getting better, and I like the idea of being able to surf well, and I really get charged up like by good waves and seeing, catching a nice wave. But it feels great, but I don't think anything really gets to the feeling of a motorbike.
I think it's more of a relaxing thing for you with the surfing as well, because you normally come home and it was such a cool morning, the sun and
Something
the
about it,
water.
yeah.
So I think it's a bit like that, isn't it? As well with you surfing, that it's sort of completely different. There's no noises except the water, and it's just calm.
What I see with it too is I was trying to surf for a bit. Something like to play guitar and surf are the two things in life that I really want to conquer at one point. The surf part, I'm not a real relaxed person. It's something that I can actually try and relax at.
Yeah.
Whereas riding, I'm not that I'm relaxed, but there's always a rock or there's always something.
Yeah.
Being out in the water, you're sort of relaxed.
Yeah, definitely.
As such, I think
It's good for your mind, I think.
It just makes everything slow down.
Yeah.
I feel. So.
Yeah, until you interact with the people that are surfing.
Yeah. All the other.
I gotta say,
Have you had any bad surfing?
I thought like I remember so clearly like when I started surfing and stuff, and I was just like, oh yeah, got a surfboard. This is awesome. You paddle out like, how you going, or this and that, trying to be friendly, and like they just look at you like you're an alien. Like, oh, righto. And then you do it again, and it's like the same reaction. It's like,
Wow.
these people are assholes. There's not many people like
No.
now. Like you get to know people, and some of them are really cool, but like it's just a really weird vibe between.
You said it was a
surfers.
lot of attitude in
So,
the
yeah, like
surfing.
you might see old mate that's freaking, I don't know, 60 years old. He's the local bloody plumber or whatever he is. He thinks he's Kelly Slater. Like, it's like, mate, we're just all out having fun. But yeah, there's so much attitude out there.
And you see, you picture the surfer as the cruisy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The cruisy person.
Yeah.
Life's just, there's no bad path.
No.
Then when they're in the water, it's just,
there's
they've got
attitude.
bad tempers.
Yeah, unless it's just something with me. But I haven't lost it on anyone, but like I've certainly had moments where I wonder what the hell's wrong with people because like, why can't you just have a good time? But
Just be out there and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
back to my question. Tell me about racing in Australia. So you did 2 years by yourselves, so 2012, 2013. Then you just went back to, you went back
I
into
got
team
to deal with
as the
Activate.
Activate time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that for a while.
Did that for a year.
Yeah.
I was on my own that
were on
year.
You did your own. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
So
you
that-
travel together in a van still with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he had AJ had his race bike and he had his practice bike, so that
Yeah.
still came in our van.
Yeah.
And then he rolled that over to the team, and then he stayed with the team, and I had my setup with the van, and you
right.
slept in the van.
Yeah.
So who did you have at Activate then? AJ?
So
McCormack?
AJ was running the team.
Yep.
So it was myself on the E3 bike.
Yep.
Tom McCormack on the 250.
Bo Ralston,
Bo Wilson on the 450.
And Josh?
Josh.
And Josh would have been
Would
on
have been the other
450.
Josh was there as well.
Yeah.
4 of us.
Good team as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time.
Come through some good teams, hey?
Yeah.
through the years as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
It's been not been too bad. That's for sure. It's only sort of been 1 year deals with the teams I've ridden for, so that can be of various reasons. But
Yep.
still been nice to be on some decent teams and that sort of stuff. So
How was that racing? Like racing 14, 15? Like that
was probably
a pretty solid time too.
Yeah, that was probably over here. Probably when I was maybe at my best, I'd say. I was riding
Yeah.
pretty solid then, and we went over to Europe to do a cup. We did 1 round or 2 rounds.
16 we did
No, this was
2.
14.
No, you didn't do. You did Sweden in 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did 2 rounds.
I did Finland and Sweden World Championships, but
Yeah.
you only did Sweden.
Sweden
For the enduro.
Yeah.
World
Championship.
Championships. That was the first one for me. That was I got a guest ride on a Honda team, like a satellite Honda team.
What on a CRF?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
How was
that
that?
was a pretty cool experience. Like that was 2014. I think I was 8th and 7th or something in the class,
Nice.
which I was pretty happy.
I'm guessing like it's a satellite team, but the bikes would be still of a solid spec.
Yeah, it was a
over
good
there,
bike.
yeah.
Yeah, I had an air fork on that one. That was
When they were
I
starting
was struggling to figure that out, and I didn't feel super comfortable on it. But overall, it was pretty fun. The
Yeah.
bike was set up well. They had some good riders. Who was on that year?
Mohead.
No, but there was a Finnish rider the year before, Tarkala. He rode for them, so I think they had some of his setups and stuff. A Finnish rider, but yeah.
So you went back for 16 and did 2, or you did 2.
In
2
16,
rounds.
you did Finland as well. Both of us did 2. Finland
did
and
3.
Sweden. I did 3. Yeah, I did Spain as well
Yeah.
that year.
What would be the main difference in terrain between Sweden and Spain? Would it be similar to?
Sweden and Spain?
Yeah, like what would the terrain
A
difference
lot
be?
more hills. Sweden is not, unless you go up north,
Yeah.
it's not flat, but it's not
But it's not big.
It's not super steep and long hills.
Yeah.
Spain got these massive hills.
Yeah.
Clay, well, especially where you rode
more
in Spain.
red clay.
Yeah.
Sweden, where I lived, was this super slippery clay, so I was happy to ride that stuff.
Yeah.
Spain is more the red clay, but it's sort of just as slippery because I was used to the blue clay.
Yeah.
But mainly the hills, just
Steep.
yes, really steep
Yeah.
downhills.
Swedish rounds normally get pretty tricky, like rocky, like
Super
loose,
technical.
muddy.
Yeah, right.
Like a lot of their forest is really soft and fluffy.
Yeah.
So it just gets you like rocks
Loose.
come up and there's just tree
Very
roots.
It
and-
depends where you go, though.
Yeah, but that round
yeah.
we did was like that.
where everything, because it's so soft, the ground's softer.
Yeah.
Everything just keeps
Just
coming to the
gets thrown
surface.
off
Yeah.
the side, and there's just slippery tree roots and rocks and stuff. And
But yeah, the main difference I reckon is especially like, I'm sort of happy with the uphills.
Yep.
Downhills is more scary when you're not used to them. If they're super steep, it was like, that was the biggest thing,
Yeah.
I think. But
And then
it's
I
pretty
hurt
cool.
myself in the second day of
In Swedish
first
round?
day, second day.
Second, I
Second
think.
day, it was Swedish GP.
Because it
I was
was
actually on a
Finland. It was
control.
back to back. So
Yeah.
Finland was one weekend and Sweden the weekend after. It was the same 2014 and 2016.
The back to back. Yep.
Yes, we did both of them.
Yeah.
And then Spain was 2 weeks,
2 weeks
after
after.
that. So, but you hurt yourself
second
in
day
Sweden.
in Sweden, I cartwheeled on this weird section on transport. It wasn't even the
Oh, really?
race track. Like, it's going from test to test, and I'm pretty sure I remember like a loose tree stump. I must have hit it, and then it got caught up in the back wheel, and then threw me over the bars, and it was just solid rock.
Yeah.
And just landed on my shoulder and snapped my top of the collarbone, and had to get surgery on that that following week. So I think I got surgery on it, and then we drove down to Spain, and Emily
Together?
did the Spanish round.
So you rode again?
No, not that.
No?
I didn't do the Spanish round,
You
but we,
didn't?
No,
we
we-
drove down,
You
and I
don't?
just gave
We just
them
drove down
support.
in the car,
Yeah.
and you were there, and then my dad flew down because the first week he was just working, and then we drove down in the car, and then
Yeah.
I raced that one, and then we flew back here again after that.
Back into recovery mode.
Yeah, luckily that, because I work as a carpenter, so luckily I was supposed to start a job with a guy I was working with in the Blue Mountains, and with a busted collarbone, and I had like I broke it right at the end of the collarbone,
Yep.
so they couldn't just plate it. They had to put in a thing called a hook plate, so it had it sort of got bolted all the way along the collarbone, and it had like a little hook that sat inside the socket of the shoulder, because it only had like a, I don't know, 20 mil piece left, so you couldn't just screw into it. Or just,
There's nothing there.
So I had to have that plate in there for 3 months,
Oh.
and then I wasn't supposed to do any movement, any overhead movement or anything like that, because it,
Bit hard as a builder.
yeah, and because that plate's sitting in the socket, it's going to wear in the socket. But so I couldn't do my normal job. But then I have a friend in Sydney that builds saunas,
Yeah.
and I spoke to him actually before we went to Sweden, or before we went to Europe, because I hit him up if he could help us out with a bit of sponsorship, because he
Yeah.
has his own business. And then he said, "Oh, sorry, I can't sponsor you, but I've got plenty of work if you need to work." And then after I broke my collarbone, I probably need a bit of work now.
Yeah.
So I hit him up and I said, "Oh, I've busted my shoulder, all this sort of stuff. I can still do stuff. I'm just not like fully active." He's like, "That's all right. Building saunas, we work with Cedar. It's nice and light. We can work together." And worked with him for like
Couple of months.
Probably. I think I worked with him after I got the plate out.
Yeah, right.
Probably spent a good 4 to 5 months working with him.
Because you flew back to Sweden and took the plate out
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, so you got the surgery there, then come
Yeah.
home, recover, and then back up to get it
Yeah.
out.
It was cheaper to get a fly to Sweden
And do it over there.
and get
Seriously?
my plate because the operation cost me nothing.
It doesn't cost anything there.
Yeah,
Really?
because Swedish citizen and all that sort of stuff. Here, I was a long wait, and if I had to pay for it, it was going to cost like, I think it was going to be like
$3 grand
3
or
to 4
something?
grand or something.
Yep.
And the
A
ticket was
was
like
$1,800 and a week off work. Oh, I'll go to
I'm
Sweden and do
not
it.
Because you got to
So,
see your family
I
at
got
the
to see my
same
family,
time,
yeah.
so it's better off just
Yeah,
going
Makes
there
sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I just kept in touch with the Swedish doctors via email.
Yep.
Said I was sort of living in. I kind of said I was just living over here for the year.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, no.
It worked out
problems
well.
else, yeah.
And do you have any issues with that now?
Not really. Like
pretty-
my shoulders. It's achy in that times, but it's
Yep.
not nothing major.
Nice.
So like any other injury, you have an injury, you feel some of it, but not all of it.
It's always
Yeah.
somewhere there, sort of thing.
Yeah. How's your shoulder going, by the way?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Couldn't be better.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's not forward at all.
No.
But yeah, just hope it's in.
Yeah. After
Yeah.
yesterday's incident.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't even crash.
No,
It's disappointing.
that is disappointing.
Yeah,
Unless
if
you've
you-
got a story to tell.
Yeah, that's right. So, well, I didn't want to crash my new Husky. It's parked up on the luscious grass on the side of the bank.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully it comes good.
yeah, it will. It will. Tell me, Transmotos.
Hmm?
You've done a lot of Transmotos now.
We've done a few.
You've done a lot.
Yeah, first one last year. I did my first one last year.
Yeah, I've done a few. But they are, I got to say, they are pretty cool events.
Yeah, is it? It's changed enduro.
I think so.
Hey.
You walk through the pits and you see 3 other guys that race, like, seriously.
Mm.
And you see hundreds of guys they ride on the weekends and they just love it. And then you see freaking 50 guys out there, or girls, that
Almost
looks like
the
they've never
first
been on a
time.
motorbike before.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just, and they all have massive smiles. Everyone has a good time. It's definitely changed the sport here, I'd say.
I feel it's sort of changed, and I think it's doing good for the racing side of the sport too. I think, like I was saying before, of trying to get more people into it, I feel that's sort of like a dip your toes in the water of racing for some people too.
Absolutely. You go to a national enduro event and you get everything between 150 to 250 riders.
Yep.
And you go to a Transmoto event and they sell out to, 500 riders or something like that, and they cap it or whatever it is, or something like that. They sell out anyway, most races.
Mm.
They've obviously figured something out, and I think the key word would be having fun.
For sure. It's a good vibe.
Having fun, you know. It's just good events.
Any events that both of you want to do? Not Transmoto, but just events. Like, is there anything there that is like, I'd love to do that enduro in such and such part of the world, or a GNCC or something? Is there anything there?
Yeah.
Like a bucket
You can
list.
start.
I can start. I never ever used to think about Fink. That was not on my list before,
How
but
come?
because it wasn't really my kind of riding. We're just going flat out,
Yep.
and you have to go out there and pre-run it a fair bit if you're gonna have a chance and do it good and not get injured. But lately I'm like, that would be pretty cool to do it. But then, so yeah, it would be cool to do that. And then I would love to do some other races in Europe, maybe some sort of extreme stuff. That would be cool.
That sort of seems to be a bit where the sport's going too, hey?
Yeah.
Like hard enduro and stuff.
It's definitely a bit of a craze at the moment.
It is, yeah. Like, you're a YouTube surfer as well.
Yeah.
You look at, like, I don't know about your history, but I look at my history on it. It's like all the things that keep popping up with hard enduro around the world and stuff. It's pretty popular.
Yeah.
So
I love watching that. Yeah, I'll probably watch it more than you do.
Yeah.
The extreme stuff.
It's
When that
incredible.
goes, I think it's heaps of fun to watch
impressive.
it.
Oh, I just don't know.
Yeah.
So impressive to watch.
So, and the sales of trials bikes, like, would have just went through the roof when hard enduro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They started making, itself public.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your race?
I definitely don't have any aspiration to, like, do any big ones overseas or anything anymore, but I could see myself. I've been interested in doing Fink as well for
You've never
a
done
number
it?
of years. No, but I'm not interested in just going out there and just doing it for fun. I'd want to.
You want to compete?
I'd want to compete, and then I'd want to do it in the safest way possible, which is to pre-run and know what you're riding, not just throw yourself in the deep end. Which I think Fink can be awesome as a bucket list race. You just go out there and you do it, and then you sort of ride to the conditions. But it'd be fun to do it and have a proper crack at it.
A good go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're both competitors. Like, it's one of those things that's like very hard to not turn that tap on and go hard.
It's got some prestige, that race too, in the sense where it's a tough race and it's a lot of risk involved. But yeah, it could be pretty cool. That's something I could see myself doing, but I just don't see myself just going out there doing it for fun, or just
No, I wouldn't want
drive
to go
out
there.
there.
I would want to have a proper go if I'm going to do it. Otherwise,
Pre-run it.
I don't have to do it.
Fair
I'm
enough.
a bit like, I wouldn't just go there and just do it to do it.
Yep.
The
Makes
only
sense.
reason I was going to do it is to proper race it.
Give it a good go. Have you heard of that Don River Dash up
No.
north?
I have no.
So it was an off-road. They did car and bike, but it was mostly car this year. Everyone that I spoke to reckons that that's going to be as big as a Fink.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a riverbed up in North Queensland, up near Bowen.
Yeah, right.
That
and
would
they
be
reckon
cool.
it was awesome. Yeah. So
So is it a big scale event at the moment?
I think it was the first couple of years at the moment.
Okay.
But I know Toby took up the truck or the
Yeah.
Can-Am and one of the bikes and did it, and a few others.
Okay.
And they talk a fair few different people saying that have done Think multiple times.
Yeah.
This is going to be
The next.
a big event for off road.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, that's cool. It's just something else.
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
one, so.
Yeah. Have to look into that.
It's always good with new races popping up like that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like iconic ones. Like Think's
Yeah.
an iconic sort of race for here. So
Yeah, sort of. People don't know anything about nationals or any other races, but they know what Think is.
I think does it. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Mm.
4 days. What have 4 days been like?
They're always a good event. They're fun. Yeah. The
Some,
next year's supposed to
some
be in
definitely
WA.
been better than others, and
That's a journey, eh?
Mm.
Is that why
Yeah.
you're fitting out your van properly?
Yeah.
To the 4 day?
The old van we had before went to Perth and back, and I guess
yeah,
this
we
one will
had
have to go
the
there
4
and
day
back.
there in 2013,
Yeah.
and I must say that's probably one of the best 4 days we had.
Yeah.
It was really good tracks. It was one test that was not that much fun because it was like a plantation and people got sort of lost in that plantation because it was not bunted off
marked
and
out.
Yeah.
people just like head on, just, oh my God,
Basically
where
got
are we
lost on
going?
it.
Oh,
We
really?
got
Yeah.
lost on it.
Yep.
But the rest, it was sand. 2 days were sand and 2 days were hard packed.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, good variation.
Yeah.
terrain.
Yeah.
So my business partner for the tour business that we're down here with at the moment, he's seen your Insta story.
Mm.
And he said, I can't believe you're putting bikes in your van.
Yeah.
Your van's too good to put
Yeah.
bikes into. So
Yeah, the front part of the van's pretty good.
it's pretty well
We don't
fitted.
put
Yeah.
bikes there though.
No.
Good fit out.
Yeah. We've done. Thanks, by the way. We've done
3 now.
3 here. And
3
then
vans?
Done some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
done,
you did
I
one in Sweden.
Did one in Sweden and stuff. And this one's probably the one at the moment. We're just finishing it at the moment, and that's probably the one that's come up the best so far.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's probably the first van we've built where we sort of had a little bit of a budget to do something nice with it.
Mm.
But we also
But,
took it time with it because, last year we sort of just set up because we got it last year and the start of the year, but sort of the whole year we just run through the racing season with just the bed and
Yeah.
basics in there. Because it was busy with the season, because we got it just when the season started and we just wanted to put our time into training. We didn't really have the money for it, so we just did bits and pieces
Yep.
here and there. So this COVID thing has been good in one way because we had more time and we just sort of tried to spend it on.
Yeah.
Because
On
last
that.
year you did Enduro,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
Transmotos,
Yeah.
Yeah.
King of MX,
Yeah.
Yeah.
East Coast MX.
Yeah.
Not the whole East Coast, but
I
a
did
fair
a
bit of
few,
it. Fair
yeah.
bit of it.
I missed one round. I did the rest.
Did you do a Nationals as well at some point?
Did we have one last year? If we did, I
I
probably
think you did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that at Nara? Yeah, I did that one.
You did Nationals
Yeah.
at now as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I did.
It's a
yeah.
busy year,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was
when you
pretty
put all that
busy.
together.
Yeah.
Sort of
Yeah.
thing. So, and then coming into this year with, you would have got one event in, wouldn't it, for the off road?
Two.
Two
we got
off-roads.
Toowoomba and Dungog.
Yeah, that's right. Dungog was right at the.
Yeah.
Just before the.
We were surprised that they actually run it. We were all like, oh, I wonder if it's going to happen because it was just when it started
March.
happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But we got that one in.
Yeah, obviously COVID.
this year's. Yeah.
Yeah, this year's been a bit crazy. Yeah, so next year I'm just hoping it's back to some sort of normal because the calendar looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a
The
bit
places
back in
where we're going.
For sure. What I was meaning to say is a 6 day. We could
Oh.
do a 6 day again.
I would love to do another
Yeah.
one. That's like that's bigger
Yeah.
for me than any other races. Like in saying you asked what races I would love to do on my bucket list.
Go back to a 6 day.
It's another 6 day. I would love another 6 day.
If you were to do a 6 day, would you get chance for dual selection?
Yeah, like
How does that work?
if I'm fast enough, I could ride it for the Aussie team.
Yep.
Which is probably not that likely at the moment. And then I have probably been fast enough to be on the Swedish team, but I haven't really.
You haven't done any races.
I haven't
over
really
there.
done any races over there in the last couple of years.
Yep.
And even though like the results have been pretty decent here, it's not really enough.
Yep.
So I haven't really ventured over that too much and put much investment into it. So
You never used to be interested. You always used to say that it didn't interest him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the fun in a 6 day.
I wasn't too worried about it.
No, but lately you've been like, oh, it would be cool to do one.
Good
Well,
challenge.
Yeah, well, just raced this many years and haven't done a 6 day. It's like, oh, kind of missed out maybe, but
Yeah. Wonder if
Yeah.
that'd be like, I know we had it in 2007 or 8 here at Cox. Wonder if we'll get it back here ever again.
They've been talking about it for
talks.
years.
Really?
Yeah, it's been talk about it for a long time.
Rumours. Yeah.
Yeah, like they want it back here, and
Yep.
they've been talking about it. But I wonder.
Would be good.
Yeah, we've
Would
got
be
such a
cool.
Put a
place
good one
to
on for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, because
It's pretty cool when you get to travel, though.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the good things about the sport.
Yeah.
You're on the go. You know,
Yeah.
you get to travel and see so much different
Yeah.
stuff. So
That's it.
No,
Well-
I would love to do another one.
I'll leave you guys to your. I'm on holiday, so I don't even know what night it is. Is it Monday? Not
Yes.
on holidays, but
Yeah.
I'll leave you guys to your Monday night.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
And keep it up. And look forward to seeing you in 2021.
See you then.
Cheers.
Hopefully COVID free.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so that's-